At the time of making this video, the most popular song on Spotify in the UK is by an AI band, the Velvet Sundown.
Dust on the wind, boots on the ground.
AI music on Spotify is nothing new. Spotify actually makes their own, which we'll come on to later. But how did this happen? How did this totally generic sounding band gain over 1 million monthly listeners and trick everyone along the way? The Velvet Sundown first appeared on Spotify in June 2025, releasing 2 full albums just weeks apart, Floating on Echoes and Dust and Silence. Both albums imitate a gentle 70s acoustic rock sound, which is actually quite pleasant to listen to.
Amber lights and silver haze.
It sounds okay, but it probably isn't what comes to mind when you think of a viral track. At first, their Spotify bio described them as a 4-piece band, but it soon became suspicious that they might not be as authentic as they first appeared. Firstly, the 4 members listed in their bio appear to be a complete mystery. There aren't any photos of them, they have no social media presence, nor do they appear to have ever played a live gig before. Secondly, the music is completely generic. Titles like Dust on the Wind and Drift Beyond the Flame are exactly the kind of thing you might come up with if you were just trying to imitate any given acoustic track from the 70s. The songs also seem to offer no innovation sonically. There's nothing interesting or unique about them, and they're all about 3 minutes long. This would all be expected if these songs never escaped the growing pile of AI music. But why did this band make it to the top, eventually passing even real artists? There was clearly something going on here beyond just the music. Rival streaming platform Deezer revealed earlier this year that 18% of music uploaded to their platform is fully AI generated. That's over 20,000 tracks a day. And whilst those AI tracks only account for about 0.5% of their total streams, it's estimated that 70% of their streams are coming from bots. Last month, Deezer became the first platform to launch an AI tagging system to let listeners know if a song is AI generated, something their 446 fans on Deezer will be surely disappointed to learn. Over on Spotify, where no such label exists, things were starting to get interesting. The Velvet Sundown continued to grow in popularity, with no way of anyone knowing for certain if the songs were made by AI. In response, a page on X claiming to be the band posted, "Many news outlets are falsely reporting that we are an AI-generated band, and nothing could be further from the truth." This led to even more questions from journalists as to why this mysterious band has suddenly gained so many listeners, and the page continued to post almost comical responses denying it. When it comes to Spotify, AI-generated artists like the Velvet Sundown are actually nothing new. They're called ghost artists. Fake artists that generate AI music, which is much cheaper for Spotify compared to the already low rates they pay real artists. In her book Mood Machine, journalist Liz Perry found that Spotify actually has a dedicated program to generate these artists, which they call PFC, or Perfect Fit Content. The idea is that they can generate songs to fill gaps in playlists, such as deep focus or cocktail jazz, essentially background music. And because it's background music, you probably wouldn't even notice that it's AI. This is bad enough, but it's even worse considering how strict Spotify is on others being creative with these ideas. In 2014, Wolfpack uploaded an album of complete silence and encouraged their fans to leave it playing whilst they slept so that they could fund their concert tour.
Spotify pays us 0.5 cent. So if you were to listen to Sleepify all night on repeat, you'd generate $4.
Spotify pulled the album later that year, claiming an unspecified violation of their policies.
It was removed under the terms violation that the artist shan't make money.
10 years later, in 2024, 52-year-old Michael Smith was arrested for using AI to generate thousands of songs for his own ghost artists and using bots to listen to them on Spotify. Understandably, this isn't such a good idea. But neither of these are what happened with the Velvet Sundown. This was something new. Unlike the Spotify ghost artists, which are embedded into official Spotify playlists and designed to fill the gaps, the Velvet Sundown was strategically placed into a number of popular user-curated playlists, filled with songs of a similar style. One of these playlists is called Vietnam War Music, which included music from the 60s and 70s, and has been saved over 600,000 times. Another is a playlist called Good Morning, which has been saved over 200,000 times. The Spotify recommendation algorithm was tricked into believing these songs were great, because suddenly the band was getting hundreds of thousands of listeners through these playlists. Presumably hardly anyone listening realized that these songs were made by AI. As is the way with these algorithms, they then grow exponentially. The algorithm detects that the songs are popular, Spotify begins placing these songs into even more playlists, and soon they grow to the point where the band is so popular that people are checking out the artist and everyone begins wondering what's going on. This was made even more confusing by the fact that nobody knew for certain if these songs were made by AI, and so journalists began trying to investigate who was behind this mysterious band. At the end of June, somebody called Andrew Freelon came forward and claimed to be the creator of the Velvet Sundown and their AI music, even giving an interview with Rolling Stone magazine and revealing that he made all the songs using Suno, an AI music generator. But things got even more confusing when the Velvet Sundown then updated their Spotify bio, claiming they'd never even heard of this guy. Andrew Freelon later wrote a blog post admitting that the interview with Rolling Stone was a hoax, and he had nothing to do with the creation of their music. He realised that because the band had no social media presence or history whatsoever, he could just claim to be their creator, and there was no evidence to prove otherwise. Eventually, the band updated their Spotify bio to reveal that, albeit still ambiguously, that they were, as everyone suspected, made by AI. But there's one more question. What does this actually mean for music? For me, I don't think this story is so much about the music. I think it actually says more about Spotify and many of the other streaming platforms. Spotify isn't a musical arts gallery, it's an entertainment service. Their job is to keep people paying the subscription every month, and there's no reason why human artistry or creativity is a component that needs to be a part of that. Last week, Hank Green put out an excellent video about how in the last 100 years, food and information have gone from scarcity to excess, and the same thing has happened with music.
And now we're in a society where companies compete to create the most delightful and engaging and inexpensive food possible, which, it turns out, is way better for you than malnutrition, but also creates other problems.
And to some extent that's fine, because we need food and we don't want people starving. But the downside is we now have a world where junk food and junk information is designed to hack our brains. Here's the key thing. Like food and information, I think we need music. You may have heard the quote attributed to Duke Ellington. There are simply two kinds of music, good music and bad music. As Hank Green also points out, as much as we like to think we have agency over our consumption, we as a society smoke cigarettes, eat junk food, scroll social media. Why should we think that when Spotify starts promoting bad music, we'll have the agency to ignore it? I think unfortunately, we should be ready for a lot more AI music in the future.